to Extra. We are here for another season of Yellowstone coming up later. We're going to be doing it later, guys. Deucecast Extra is going to be extra long from now on. The extra is actually just going to mean extra long because what we have decided to do, for better or worse, is we're going to have the first hour or more of the show is always going to be Star Wars Marvel. We're going to keep that like Star Wars Marvel, whatever show is on Disney Plus. We'll be talking about it. And the second hour or more will be discussion of Yellowstone. So that's kind of how we're going to. We'll see. I don't know. You guys, how's it going? Everybody out there?
I'm just hoping you're okay right now.
Are you okay?
What? Am I
Michael?
frozen?
Mike's not super strong.
Oh, am I frozen?
No, not frozen. Just close to it.
You're stutter stepping.
Yeah.
Oh no. Sorry.
Yeah, your voice is like look.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah.
Oh,
My
we're
connection-
starting with Eternals, Rhett.
My connection is fairly good, is what my Wi-Fi says, but apparently that's not. So what's going on, Garrison?
Oh, I'm doing well. I'm getting close to the end of this semester and getting excited for these projects. No, I'm not that excited for some of these projects. And excited for the movies at this end of the end of this year because I'm very excited for one of them at least. Which we'll maybe talk about a little bit in a second. So
That's right. And Stan, welcome back for the Eternals chat. How's it going, buddy?
Well, thank you for having me back. I appreciate it. It's going great. How's it with you, Dr. Earl? How are you?
In the beginning, Erisham created the earth.
now, why don't you give us about 7 paragraphs there?
I
Right.
think we're going to be on the same page.
Man.
I'm
Well,
doing good, Stan. Thank you for asking. I'm doing well.
Yeah, so if you didn't understand all of the beginning stuff, and I'm still probably a little bit choppy, but we're going to talk about Eternals at first here.
No, you're good. You're good now.
I did want to mention, of course, that we got what is presumably the final Spider-Man poster. I don't
It
know.
was the first.
The first, and maybe
I think it'll be
there'll
the
be
final.
some character posters. Yeah, I mean,
Well, they'll definitely do an IMAX and a Dolby and a blah blah blah. But
Yeah, exactly. And of course, the big reveal in that poster, if you were paying attention, is that Green Goblin was in the right-hand distance, flying around, and it was presumably the Willem Dafoe version.
Dude, it's 100%. We heard his laugh.
Yeah.
It's 100%. Willem
Yeah,
Dafoe.
it's the Willem Dafoe.
I mean,
I don't necessarily want. There's people that avoid spoilers so much that they don't even look at the posters. I mean, so I don't necessarily want to like spoil anything. But yeah, I mean, we know Green Goblin's in this thing. I mean, it's kind of inevitable that he's in it because we heard his voice in the trailer.
Hayden Church as Sandman. And the guy that played Lizard, his name escapes me.
I can't remember his name.
You almost had it.
It's like RHYS or something. I don't know.
Oh, Jonathan Rhys. No. Rhys Ifans. Rhys Ifans.
Oh, Rice.
Yeah.
As Lizard, right?
Lizard.
Yeah. I mean, so does this really shock y'all?
And Jamie Foxx is Electro, which we already knew.
We already knew because he said that like a year ago. Yeah,
and
no.
Josh Brolin as Thanos. We got
Josh Brolin as Thanos. That's a different movie. Yeah. No. We understood all of that. So some people were saying that they wished the guy that played Lizard in the Raimi Spider-Mans would have a chance. But he's not. He's definitely not.
Dylan Lizard. So
Dylan Baker, is that his name? Dylan Baker. Yeah.
He never transformed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, Rhett's right. I think we've got Sally Field back as Forrest Gump's mom. That's
hey, I'd
inevitable.
be down for that.
So yeah, exactly. Oh, I missed up here, Melissa. What's going on? I promise you, we will eventually get to Yellowstone. We're going to talk about this movie that came out, Marvel's Eternals.
Why do you avoid it, Michael?
No. I'm not avoiding it. Okay, so Stan.
Yeah.
From a comic background only, not talking about the movie itself. but from a comic background only, did this resemble anything from Eternals that you can recall?
Every time Eternal shows up in the comic book since Jack Kirby left Marvel, it's been a rehash, a redo, trying to find a way to make it work.
Mhm.
So no more nor less than any of that. Yeah, some of the characters resemble that, but even if they didn't, it's okay. Going into the movie, I was going to be okay with it because I knew it'd have to be a different take on Eternals than we've seen before. But
Sure.
we've got so many takes on Eternals.
Yeah.
And, so this was no more nor less. If we had time to let the characters develop more or interact more, then
more time?
Preaching to the choir, Stan.
for the
Preaching
characters.
time to
You're
the
sitting
choir.
in a 2.5-hour movie that every ounce of dialogue is going toward explaining the movie.
Yes.
Except every 15 minutes they stop and say Captain America to remind you that they're in the Marvel universe.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is a bad
the
movie.
exposition.
Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't care about any of them. I didn't care that Earth was in jeopardy.
Yes.
Didn't seem like the Marvel Earth. Didn't seem like a Marvel movie. And and I think that's bad because I think the positive in it is Dane Whitmire, the Black Knight.
Yeah.
Dane Whitman.
He's the thing you want to take away from this car wreck.
Yeah, he mostly is. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like.
By the way, this is a spoiler discussion. Have we said that to the crowd?
Yeah,
watching?
I mean,
So
I
if
think
you're
that
not,
I think I built
the movie.
Yeah, I think I build it as we were going to try and do it as a non-spoiler thing, but you know what? I mean, it's too hard to talk about without spoiling it. I mean, I guess, Stan, the thing that I was most wondering about is with Arisham creating the universe, blah 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 blah. Were the Eternals that he created in the comics also robots, basically? No? Okay.
No, they were.
Okay.
They were mortal. I started to say mortal beings. They were beings. They were flesh and blood. It didn't go down like it's in the movie. You also have to keep in mind that there's a one above all in Marvel.
Yeah.
And there's a whole pantheon we haven't even gotten to yet.
I know.
And I was so hoping they were going to use this to clear the way for Hercules as well. And I was really hoping for more flashback scenes. I thought we were going to see a younger Thanos.
Okay, so you were bummed when you didn't see Thanos in this.
But that didn't bother
his brother.
Me. If it was a good story, I wouldn't care. Yeah, but his brother, the most problematic comic book character in the Me Too era, walk him right into the movieverse. She-Hulk kicked his butt over a situation.
Wow.
In the comics.
Does he have the power of like romantic persuasion or something? Is that right? Or
he bends people's will. He makes point blank in the comic book in the 1980s. He made them horny.
Okay,
that's what he did.
Okay, well, I mean, he is Harry Styles. I mean,
Harry Styles is doing it now.
It's good casting then.
I thought he was one of the better additions to the movie in terms of the tone that he brought to the film in just a tiny amount of time.
Tonally, and the whole, what was it? Is it Pip or whatever?
Pip the Troll.
Pip the Troll.
Not great CGI, but
no, probably the worst.
In
the movie.
Yeah,
that bothered me too. That looked like the whole thing looked like they hashed it up and tried to piece it back together as a puzzle. The whole movie did, and they left out any dialogue that makes you give a damn about any of the characters.
Yes. Thank you, Stan.
Too many writers.
Well,
not into it.
Was there though? I mean, as far as
writers,
at least on IMDb,
there's like 4 listed.
There's 4 listed. Yeah, Chloe Zhao, Patrick Burleigh,
and it's
Ryan,
not just story by. It's like
Ryan Firpo. Oh, the Firpo brothers. So Ryan Firpo and Kaz Firpo. Patrick.
Firpos.
Yeah, the Firpo brothers. Now, the Firpo brothers are interesting as far as what they have done before. They have directed something that I actually liked, and I'm trying to remember what it was called. Dang it. Well, okay, I can't find it right now. But they've been writing basically saving screenplays. They've sort of like been in the background. You know how you heard Carrie Fisher always came in and doctored scripts. The Furpos are these guys that would do that, but not be listed on screenplays. They've done that a lot in Hollywood. So it's interesting that they're out there listing their names as screenplay writers
this time.
So here's what I want to do. We'll go around. We'll say something that we liked. If there's anything, I think we already I think all of us can agree that Kit Harington did better than expected. For me, at least.
Better than expected. No, I thought he was going to be great.
No, because see, the only thing that I have seen him in that he was truly good
I thought he was going to be great
was Game of Thrones. The only thing that I've seen him in that he was good in was Game of Thrones. Anything else outside of Game of Thrones, he's not been great in.
I've only seen him in Game of Thrones. So
I've only seen him in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I saw him in that horrible Mount Vesuvius, whatever that movie was that he was in, was god awful.
I'm
but,
with you.
He was good.
But this role, he'd have to work to not be good in it. It's almost tailor-made for him.
That's true. That's a good point. I
this
mean, that's a good point.
This role,
it's almost like he's playing the same character he did in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
In a way. I mean, so there's not a stretch for him, but I don't know. I thought he did good in it. I honestly liked Angelina Jolie quite a bit in this.
I did too.
Me too.
I was very surprised. I thought that I was surprised that she was a background character a little bit.
Yeah,
I mean, I didn't.
Selma Hayek.
I didn't expect. Well, Selma Hayek, I'm used to seeing her not necessarily, the star of a film.
Yeah.
Angelina Jolie, when she's in stuff, she's usually the star of the film.
Yeah.
And so this was odd that she was willing to take such a back seat to really the Gemma Chan character. Cersei, yeah, she was kind of the star of it. Now, I didn't know anything about the team, and maybe that's how it is in the comics, that Cersei's the main,
Icarus.
Icarus
is the real star here of the books, usually, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that was a bit of a twist.
We couldn't have a guy.
So that was a bit of a twist.
And Cersei, I think in the comics, is the one to usually sell the team up the river.
Yeah. Cersei has an affair with Crow, the head deviant.
Yeah.
And this was
I thought that was Thena who did that.
Yeah. It's Selma Hayek said today in an interview that she has signed on for multiple deals. She says she doesn't have to be brought back in, but they got her a check for multiple deals. And that's probably the same thing with Angelina Jolie. At the very end of the credits, it says the Eternals will return, to which I audibly groaned.
Well, yeah.
But if they return in other people's movies as backup, that's a little different.
Yeah.
And there's two things to that. First off, they could flash back again and get those people back. But secondly, Eternals don't die.
They can rebirth them.
They can they can just rebirth them
just
over
without
and over
their
again.
memories.
Right.
So Garrison, anything other than what we've already mentioned that you liked?
There were a few things I liked. I mean, I'm kind of mixed on this film personally. But I guess I could go with relationship wise. I thought most of the relationships did not work in the film for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought Druig and Makari's relationship actually like seemed like a real chemistry relationship on screen.
That's what I thought too. That's good. I was
gonna I mean, I certainly can see that too. That actor though, what's his name? Barry Keoghan. He's kind of a weird guy. He's just kind of a weird guy. And so I don't know. I that wasn't my favorite relationship was the Cersei and Dane relationship.
Yeah.
That's kind of like, that's not throughout the film, but
the one that never worked for me was Icarus and Cersei. They never really seemed like
correct. Yeah.
And that was their big Marvel sex scene, which you can see on any episode of Roseanne or Man About the House.
Roseanne? Yeah. Boy, that's a relevant reference there, Stan. Roseanne.
It's just, they run this stuff in the media and they act like it's a big thing. And this is no more than we've seen on every sitcom ever. So far as content. It's not like I
There was a
going
little
in there-
more motion that you get in a sitcom stand. There was some
Yeah.
thrusting motion.
Was
that
there?
Yeah,
There
there
was.
was some
There was.
thrusting.
Yeah, I was kind of
Okay.
like, oh,
To Earl's point, I mean, it is for the MCU, it is odd. I mean, to take that step, that's not necessarily something that's obviously something that the DCEU, they have no problem showing that kind of stuff. But the MCU, they kind of
they've
had
always
not
been
gone
sort
there.
of.
They've
tamer.
stayed away from that. You know, this isn't necessarily one that I personally would feel comfortable with my kid going to see this one. Now, there was a lot of kids in the theater watching this movie, and it's just not your typical Marvel movie. I think that a lot of families probably are just going to be like, this was kind of boring. It just wasn't your typical Marvel movie.
Didn't feel like it.
It had some good action sequences. I mean,
See, but I went in knowing it wasn't the typical Marvel movie, so it didn't really bother me necessarily. I mean, they brought in Chloe Zhao, an art house director, but they didn't even really let her be an art house director anyway. I mean, I was really wanting my Terrence Malick Marvel movie, and instead I got just a slightly different Marvel movie.
Just a tepid sort of.
Yeah.
No,
So are we doing what do we like, Michael? Or we?
Yeah. So go ahead, Dr. Earl.
Can I go next?
Yeah,
I like
please.
Makari's running scenes. I thought like she was one of the best speedster. And then when she did that punching on Icarus at the end, I thought that was really awesome. I liked Thena's like fighting with the whatever these magical swords and weapons that would just pop up. So I thought that was pretty awesome, and I thought Gilgamesh was pretty neat when he was punching the deviants. Are we talking about things we like and don't like, or just things we like?
Yeah, no, go ahead with all of it. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I didn't love the deviants. I mean, they just seemed like, I don't know.
They were wasted, is what they were.
CGI dragons.
Yeah.
Generic bad guy number 787.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I think Crow in the comics is probably much more menacing than he was in the film.
Well,
He is.
Yeah.
So, and there's a whole different angle to it, which there's no way the way the movie was set up that they'd ever be able to get to. There's a whole, it starts at the beginning. This was Jack Kirby's creation story. And I mean, he pulls from the Torah very heavily in the comics, and it was just received as okay.
Yeah, it wasn't a hit.
Yeah, and then Marvel has tried for the last 6 decades. They will come out with some new version. The current version that's on the stands, that's really good. I mean, I was excited about the movie because of the current comic that's coming out. But none of that made it. It was not even remotely that. So it was just, to me, it's just kind of a drag. But I understand what.
And I like Sprite. I thought Sprite's story arc was pretty good.
I like Sprite when she turned.
And she was a good actress, I thought. Like,
they gave her the most to do for sure, as far, or I'm sorry, the most character development. As kind of being, frustrated in her inability to grow. I mean,
I get where she's coming from, but I liked her until she turned. I mean, you can be frustrated with that, but then to totally just, I don't know, she seemed to flip on a dime a bit much.
She was in love with Icarus.
I get that, but it was a pretty hard turn.
15-year-old, have you met a 15-year-old girl in love?
Yes.
Yeah, just like that.
Exactly.
Kill the family pet? Okay.
There's some ickiness to it. There's some ickiness.
Yeah. I mean, the only character that I just didn't really buy was Icarus. I mean, to be honest, and Richard Madden just is not a dynamic actor. Now, I've heard he's really good in some stuff that he's been in after.
Wasn't he in The Bodyguard or something?
That's what I was about to mention, The Bodyguard. So, yeah, I mean that's
Oscar
kind of.
Isaacs would have been better in that role.
Well,
but I'm very glad he's in the role he's in. So
I'm I'm very glad that he's in the role he's in. Yeah.
Dan, did you like anything?
Now listen, what you got to understand about this, it's not the actor's fault. It's not it's not the bios on the characters. I thought I thought so far as the explanation, their power base, all that's fine. It's a pretty movie. The problem is I was bored to tears. I did not care. They were misfiring on every level. My favorite part, the part that when Michael said our favorite parts, is when Crow has Angelina by the neck and one eye is wide open and the other eye is
twitching.
And I thought, bravo, my God, you really went the extra mile. And I can't say what I was going to say, but you really went the extra mile to do that. That's crazy. Angelina's great. So
she commits.
I mean, she had one eye wide open, the other eye was, and I've been trying it ever since and can't do it.
She's a talented actress.
Yes, she is.
Good.
Michael, what about you?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think I've kind of said the stuff. I mean, the promise of things to come, I think, is the stuff that I'm more excited for.
Right.
The Dane Whitman character. I'm more excited for because I liked Kit Harington enough in this that I'm excited for him to be used in a different way. Obviously, since we're doing spoilers, you've got Blade, the Mahershala Ali Blade's voice in this, saying, "Are you sure you're ready for that?" So, and there's history with those two characters in the comics, so we'll see. I mean, I think that there's the promise of things to come is what I'm more excited of than the movie itself.
No one's going to remember this 1 week after Spider-Man.
Yeah, right. Totally.
Right.
Yep.
No.
And that's that's a big problem. I mean,
no, I think it's a great thing.
Well, yeah. I mean, rewatchability on Eternals is 0 for me. I mean, I have no interest in rewatching it again.
But let me say this. I think with a zippier script, that when some of these other characters show up in other movies, hear me out.
Okay.
Well, I can tell you're getting agitated. I don't want to agitate you. No, but I was saying, I think some of the characters, when they show up in other movies and they give them better dialogue and zippier, I think it's going to, I liked some of the characters like Druig and Makari. I don't know about Kingo. I haven't quite figured out.
I liked Kingo's assistant.
Yeah, he was good. Kingo's chauffeur. Yeah, he was good.
You stabbed me.
Well, and the two of them got the most character development.
Right.
Yeah.
Out of the movie, there was, you understood. You see him doing that Bollywood picture, pretending to be Icarus.
Yeah.
But you naturally understood this. Another thing, there was a couple of plot holes in this.
Oh yeah.
Like for instance, you're going to tell me Thanos snaps half of reality away, and you're not going to go check on your 500-year-old booty call? And they didn't. They didn't check on each other to see.
Yeah, they didn't check on each other, right?
And and then they kept talking about Thanos like he was a familiar. And at the end, in the end credit scene, we get Thanos's brother introducing himself as Thanos's brother. Otherwise, you wouldn't know me. But they never make the connection between them and Thanos. They never say, "Here's how we're connected."
Well, because if they were to go into the deviant gene or something like that, then they would have to be like, well, then why didn't you interfere? And
well, that's the problem. That's the problem. They could have simply been snapped out of existence,
right?
And said that.
But they're robots.
Everything.
In Icarus's defense, a bit, Ajax gave him that information that he had to keep to himself for a very long time. That really made him kind of a conflicted guy. And that's why he separated himself from everyone, because he knew what was the truth about a lot of stuff, and he didn't want to have to share that. So, I mean, in his defense a bit, as to why, he didn't check on them. You were mentioning why he didn't check on anybody. I mean,
he kind of close to the sun.
Sure. I mean, he just kind of he wanted to take himself out of the equation, basically.
Hey, Jack.
Look, and that's
Jack, whatever.
That was too on the nose.
Yeah.
Because the moment he jumps up and flies off, I thought, Icarus, son.
Yeah.
I mean, I know somebody at Marvel was patting themselves on the back saying, You know, this
such
is
white male guilt. He had to go. He had to.
Yeah. He had to go. He did. Yeah.
The one thing I did like about the film was the not just saying it, but the hint that these people were seen as gods in the past, and Sprite saying that she made up the story about Icarus, and Athena talking, Athena talking about Athena.
That was pretty cool.
I liked that there were hints there that these were the people that kind of, past societies looked at as gods.
Created the mythology.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was a very nice angle to it, but it just did not feel like a Marvel movie to me. Now we've got to explain, and I'm not allowed to use my really cool description here.
You don't need to use that description.
We've got to explain the head and the hand coming out of the side of the earth.
Right.
And I just know they're going to reference it in other Marvel's movies, and I really wish they wouldn't.
They will.
Maybe they won't.
Maybe mean, that's what upsets Namor or something.
I would really like to see Namor take care of that.
Yeah, just get rid of it.
Just nuke
it. Yeah. I mean,
well, in the Avengers comic book, Stan, aren't they like? Isn't their base the head of a Eternal or something?
I'm not a real big fan of the current Avengers comic book either.
Well, this was like, I don't know, 2 years
ago.
Okay,
now look, the Celestial.
Celestial. I'm sorry, not an Eternal.
Which the Eternals in the comics cannot attack, right?
Yeah. They're nobody can really attack them.
Okay.
But there's a Celestial in the comic book reality. There's a Celestial, or there used to be, over San Francisco called the Sleeping Celestial. The X-Men made their headquarters near it for a while. There's a frozen Celestial that the Avengers are running ops out of at the moment in the Himalayas. They're not as big as this one was portrayed. They're more the size of the one we saw in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right. They made them like super large. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Oh, unbelievably. Yeah, unbelievably. And how is that going to affect the normal populace, seeing that in the sky at the end?
They'll be fine.
Well,
the Men in Black will come in and wipe their Men in Black will come in and wipe their memory or something like that.
The suicide rate in the Marvel cinematic reality on Earth must be astronomical.
Yeah, it has to be.
Yeah, I mean, Snap doesn't help either.
I guess
that's what I'm saying.
No,
Thanos is gone, and now this guy shows up.
I guess one thing that they're going to have to change in a way, because wasn't Thanos and his brother Eternals in the comics?
Yeah, Thanos was born with a deviant strain. The Star Fox is an Eternal. Thanos and Star Fox's fathers are Eternals, and they're going to
have to change that.
It's all very problematic, and it could have changed 45 times since we started this podcast.
Yeah.
So, it's don't pay any heed to what's going on in the comic books concerning the Eternals or the Inhumans. They don't know how to use them, and that's what it comes down to.
Yeah,
I'm so glad we got this movie over Inhumans.
They tried with Inhumans, though. They tried.
I like Inhumans.
This needs to go the way of Inhumans. So far
I was being sarcastic.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, no, I mean, I think that this is one that they can take the loss and not bring these characters back, except for.
Oh, they're coming back.
Oh, they're coming back.
Not in their own. Not Eternals 2, though.
Eternals 2.
I maybe incorporate them into something, but
I think you'd be surprised.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, they're coming back.
They'll be on the next What If, dude.
Well, no, they could
be
but
one of the What Ifs,
and that's fine. That's what I'm saying. Like, don't give them their own sequel. I mean, they don't need.
To Stan's point, he talked about caring for the characters, and I came out of this movie going, I wish it was a TV show so we could flesh out a lot of these things, and
Disney Plus series.
It would have worked better as a 6-hour TV show.
Maybe.
The one thing I hated throughout the film was every time a character died, I just didn't care. Don Lee's character Gilgamesh dying, I didn't care.
Yeah.
And the really sad thing about that is there's a movie from a few years ago where Don Lee's character dies, and you care so much when that character dies. If you know exactly what film I'm talking about, I don't want to ruin that.
Yeah.
Please don't.
But it was just so weird and striking watching this film and going, okay, I don't really know his character. I don't really know him.
Yeah.
We see him taking care of Athena, and okay, that's about it.
Yeah, and as much time as they tried to spend letting us get to know these characters, it wasn't enough time because you didn't really care about any of them in any way.
Well, and they're trying to make you care about Cersei the most, and I just don't.
Yeah.
Well, that's because out of all of them, she's the one that's going to, Cersei and Thena are the ones that are going to come back. They're the ones that are kind of at each other and so on and so forth, or have differences when Thena is not insane.
Yeah.
But the deal, did this feel at all to y'all like Shang-Chi or Black Widow?
No.
And that's it. We come out of Black Widow and Shang-Chi, and I'm like, oh my God, they survived COVID. They know what they're doing. They're going forward. And then we turn this curve, and all I can think is Spider-Man 4 weeks.
Yeah. Well, and wasn't Eternals originally supposed to come out before Shang-Chi?
Yeah, it was supposed to come out November 2020.
Ago, right?
Shang-Chi was February 2021.
Yeah.
So.
I kind of think they did this on purpose. I kind of think they put it in front of Spider-Man. And
maybe.
At the beginning of November, end of October, to purposefully kind of wash things clean a little bit, or say,
and you have to remember that we've got Hawkeye in like 2 weeks.
Stan,
I'm excited about that.
I'm gonna disagree with you, and here's why. I'm gonna present a couple things. First off, November, a typical time that awards movies come out. There was a big belief inside of Marvel that they thought they had a contender on their hands in some way, and I'm not kidding.
That's too bad. That's too bad.
They thought because they had Chloe's. They probably, here's what happened. Some execs who are out of touch went, "Wow, this is less boring than Nomadland." And we're like, all right, maybe it'll win Best Picture.
Wow.
They really did.
That's crazy. I mean, that's too bad. I mean, because it's just,
did you see how they saw that?
No. I think that so much exposition, so much too many flashbacks, too many the
flashbacks.
There's flashbacks, and then they flash. It's like there was just too much of all of that to keep a normal audience interested in what was going on.
Yeah, I was grooving with it when we started off with Dane Whitman and Cersei and Sprite, and they were in that London thing, and I'm like, okay, this might be kind of cool. And Dude Man shows up, Icarus, and then flashback, and I'm like,
flashback to Babylon, and you're like, come on.
We don't have to. We know.
I don't care about Babylon.
Yeah, and
I don't care about Mesopotamia. I don't care about any of this stuff.
I don't want to. I'm not going to lay all the blame at Chloe Zhao's feet because you have so many writers on the film. I think if you pair her up with a good writer, you could come out with a pretty good film. And she is supposedly now directing. She's now directing supposedly Kevin Feige's Star Wars film.
I don't buy it. I don't buy it.
And
I can't imagine that.
Okay, and she'd be paired up with Michael Waldron at that point, and I think that would be a good pairing if you were to give her a writer.
No, that's right, a good writer.
Yeah.
I think I think there were some beautiful scenes in this movie. I mean, I think the filming of it was nice with some of the coastline scenes.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem. You've got a guy at the top of the chain, Chapek, who's all about numbers. And this ain't doing Marvel numbers. This is not doing MCU numbers. And so he's not going to let Chloe Zhao direct a Star Wars film. I just can't see it happen. I just can't.
Not now. Maybe
now. I mean,
maybe after Nomadland, but not now.
Yeah,
We'll see.
There's something else where this film falls apart. And you had mentioned it earlier. The flashback sequences. Well, I actually wanted an entire flashback story. But what I got was these snippets of, look, here's what we think ancient Babylon looked like.
Yeah.
And dialogue that could have been held in contemporary times just to get the point across.
Right.
Editing failed this movie.
Yeah. It's slow paced.
Yes. Editing, the movie could have been if there was a chance, it's editing that saves films like these. But the way, if you notice, even the font down at the screen, it'd say ancient Babylon and it'd give the years. And then at one point, they just stopped giving the years on the flashback. There's one
you know
flashback
what year
that just bears a
Hiroshima
thing.
happened.
You'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Look, Romans. You
Hey
know,
kids, we're going to teach you history.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
yeah, it's that sort of thing. I really do think editing failed on this movie. I cannot say anything about the director's ability because I haven't seen anything else directed by her.
I've seen all her
Nomadland,
stuff.
I mean, I like
mean,
Nomadland.
yeah.
I think her pace for that is right on the spot.
So-
she has a pacing issue. I mean, for the most part.
I think she has a little bit of a pacing issue because she's an art house director, and
Yeah,
I think a
and
lot of
that's
times
part of
they
it.
do for a
fair.
modern mainstream audience sensibility. They have pacing issues, but she is in a really interesting situation because all of her films pretty much were acted by normal people, except for Frances McDormand in Nomadland, where she acted with normal people. This is the first time she's actually had a cast around her that she's
actors.
that she's directing. So I think it's an interesting opportunity for her, and I don't think I don't know. I would have to know everything that would have gone on behind the scenes to say she failed. I don't think she failed.
I just came up with a theory for why Richard Madden and Gemma Chan, I think they went with this idea that they were robots and that they were learning. I don't know. I just had this all of a sudden
automatons.
Huh?
Not as much droids or robots as they are automatons that can be refilled with the memories.
Not robot.
Yeah. I mean, it's a middling, but it's an important one.
It is.
That's fair. That's fair.
It's fair. Yeah.
But I'm just wondering, like, did they think that was something they should go with and be sort of wooden at the beginning? And then I was like, no, maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah.
It just seemed like a weird.
I think one of the reasons that Icarus is so distant is because of the knowledge he has about what is going to happen. So he's not really there to be in love, even though he falls in love. But I still don't buy it fully. That's on the performance, but
same problem in the 50 Shades of Grey trilogy. No chemistry between Christian and that girl that tilts her head and bites her lip.
No, we don't.
The fact that you know the guy's name, I didn't know his name was Christian. I didn't know.
Jamie Dornan, right?
Yeah, Jamie Dornan. Hey, he might be an Oscar winner.
I like Jamie Dornan. He's
for Belfast coming out. But
question. What happened to Kingo? So he was just like, I'm gonna not be with you guys and then not be here for the whole final battle.
Kingo abstained. It's like he decided he wasn't going to vote either way.
I am glad that they stuck with that. Like, he didn't come back and save the day at the end.
He's with the group at the end, and there's no consequences.
All's forgiven.
All's forgiven. They're automatons. They don't care.
Did Kumail have like scheduling conflicts?
No, I think that was just a storytelling device.
Out for his character.
They're just,
It didn't even dawn on me until about halfway through. I was like, wait a minute, where's the dude with the...
There's an outtake where he shows up and saves the day at the end.
That's what should have happened.
No, I like that they went with it. I like that they went with it. I'm just,
Could you imagine, like Hawkeye, or better yet, Tony Stark saying, not this one. I'm gone.
Yeah. Well,
y'all call me when it's over.
I kind of respect Tony, and Tony's not going to do it, so I'm not going to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Tony has a lot of money. I bet he knows where to hide.
Well, no, Garrison.
Okay.
Kingo said, look, I trusted Icarus, right? He called Icarus his leader.
Yeah.
But then he didn't want to attack his fellow Eternals. So it's sort of like a guy voting in the, he just abstains from the vote. I'm going to walk out. I kind of like that move, actually. Although I don't think I realized he did it. It was
a weird character thing to happen. It was kind of abrupt, but it was a weird character thing.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean,
he had his buddy go with him.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know.
What is he going to do? Leave that poor little guy there with Angelina Jolie and Crow?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, there was a lot of weird stuff in this movie. I mean, there's a lot of weird decisions. But it is what it is.
He's a big movie star, man. He can't,
Ghostbusters Afterlife will make me forget about this, and then I won't even remember there's Eternals after Spider.
Oh man. I hope the final trailer of Spider-Man hints at things that the final trailer of Ghostbusters Afterlife hint at. But that's just me.
That's right. Oh my gosh, guys. I don't have anything more to say about this movie. I mean, I think that we've said enough.
Look, then here's
I'll say one more thing.
Yeah,
Okay, go ahead.
I do think maybe 70%. I don't go all the way down low. I think if you look at the fans, it's about 80% on Rotten Tomatoes. People are liking it, sort of, but it's definitely not the best Marvel movie.
A B cinema score is really bad though, and
well, it's low.
Cinema score is way more accurate than Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah. Well, and so for the audience at home, if you don't know what cinema score is, every Friday when the movie opens, they'll go to LA and New York and have people fill out these cards, and they get to choose between F to A. And fans usually for superhero films usually hit the A, and you want your score to at least be an A-. If it's a B+, it's not a good sign. If it's a B, it's really not a good sign. It's the first time a movie's a 5 out of 10. I'd give it a 6. It's the first time a Marvel movie's gone below a B+, and a B+ was only done once with Kenneth Branagh's Thor, which I actually enjoy a lot. So.
I like Thor.
I do too.
In rewatching it, I
think Thor 2011 was kind of a weird film to audiences.
It was.
And now they're more receptive to that kind of thing. But I think Eternals is a different step for audiences, and I think you see that the diehards aren't in love with it like they are other films.
It's going to become a beloved movie.
No. I honestly don't think it will. I don't think it will. Yeah.
The first Thor is a clear step. Eternals is not a clear step. You can't tell me why we needed all this exposition on the Celestials.
Yeah.
I mean, this could have been covered. This could have been covered in a What If episode. And so what are we set up for? We're set up for the Celestials, and which in my mind, the Celestials have taken the wind out of Galactus when he shows up.
Right. I know, I totally agree.
Because I want Galactus to show up and not worry about.
Now you got these giant planet-sized gods, basically.
No, that's a good point, Stan. That's
and given that they're pulling from a comic book called Earth X with the birthing of the Celestials situation, that comic book's out of continuity. It was weird to begin with, but it also set up Galactus's cause to eat planets has population control on the Celestials. He's destroying the planets where the Celestials are born. Well, they kind of need to take a whole new angle with Galactus away from that.
Because now they're just robots or automatons
it's just this movie was let down to me. I hate it. It was worse than a DC movie in as much that I don't hate it. I was just bored by it.
That's how I felt about Wonder Woman this past December. I wasn't that bad with Eternals, but I was close.
Wonder Woman didn't
84
either. 84.
Oh, 84
First one's great.
Yeah, I was talking about 84.
I'm with you on 84. I feel the same way, and that's a good comparison. What did this set up? What was the point?
Yeah,
right.
So,
well, for the next week, we have got Disney Plus Day to discuss. So, we will definitely be covering that from all the Star Wars. Well, hopefully all the Star Wars news and all the Marvel news that's coming out. So we'll definitely be talking about that kind of stuff next week, and certainly looking forward to that. Ryfin, any parting shots on Eternals, and tell the people where they can find you?
I don't have any parting shots on Eternals. I said what I was going to say mostly. I do have a question from one of my Facebook friends. They posted about Yellowstone. They asked where Monica and Tate is, so I guess you can answer that later. So
we will answer that.
Discussing that right now, sir.
We will answer that.
We're not discussing now, sir.
You can find me on Twitter at SUPASH3. You can find me on Letterboxd at GRife, and you can find me on the Deucecast Discord. And that's about it.
Stan, thank you again for coming and joining us.
My honor.
Plug your stuff, my friend.
Kingdom Cast's podcast has been on a hiatus for about 3 weeks. It's coming back this week, at the end of this week. It was not it was a forced hiatus. Real life kind of creeps into things, and it's all the editing, which is me. So that's my fault. But that's our podcast, Kingdom Cast's podcast. Other than that, follow us on Facebook as Kingdom Comics or Kingdom Casts. And I'm just happy to be here. Spider-Man comes out in 4 weeks, and we
can talk about 37 days.
Yes. Definitely. So, Dr. Earl, you're going to be back for Yellowstone, so we don't need you to say goodbye just yet. This is what we're going to do, folks. We are going to have kind of a cool transition, and since he's in the chat right now, a huge thank you to Nick for putting this together very quickly to help us go from the Marvel Star Wars talk to the Yellowstone talk. We're going to take like a 2-minute break. Everybody can run to the bathroom, get a drink, do their thing, and then we will come back for Yellowstone. Thank you guys so much for joining us for the Eternals talk, and we will be back here in a few minutes for Yellowstone talk. We are back for Yellowstone. This dude, season 4 of Yellowstone. I did not think we would get here. It felt like
I got to get my hat, I guess.
It felt, yeah, you got to get yourself a hat. I picked up this bad boy today. Look, I'll be honest, this is my first cowboy hat. I have no idea what I'm doing, but this
looks good on you, man.
This thing looks good on me. I'm ready for it. And as promised,
white hat action going on here.
Yeah. As promised, and we have been promising this for a long time, but we have got Roth from Wyoming joining us for Yellowstone. What's up, brother?
True Westerner,
yeah.
Welcome, the friend. Western shirt on and everything. I spent 2 weeks looking for a Western shirt with Yellowstone branding. Could not find it. I did find a Yellowstone hat at Boot Barn, however.
Oh, nice.
So,
I thought you could only get those online. I could not find those anywhere in Birmingham.
I went to Murdoch's, Tractor Supply. I went so many different places looking for Yellowstone gear.
All right.
Graphic t-shirts.
I gotta throw this up. Roth looks like a natural. Michael looks like a roadie for CCR.
CCR.
Right on. So yeah, dude. I mean, this I'm very pumped for this. Now, did anybody watch the finale of season 3 in preparation?
Yes, I did.
Yeah,
so
you did.
With YouTube TV, Paramount was running
they were running
the episodes.
That's true. They were.
In between watching football and work and editing the podcast, my podcast, I would be turning on the kind of run up. So I saw a few episodes here and there, and then I watched the majority of the finale of last seasons.
Yeah. They did that little like recap.
They did a good recap on it,
and it was actually pretty good. I mean, they recapped quite a bit. And the way that the episode just jumps like right into immediately what happened, like it didn't. Even though we've been waiting over a year, it seems it did not seem that long.
It was pretty seamless too.
It was pretty seamless, and I gotta say, 8.12 million average viewers on this premiere. That is pretty hardcore, and makes total sense why we're getting 2 spin-off shows from this thing. I mean, Paramount is
John Dutton.
Yeah, Paramount is not going to let this thing go. And they obviously used this premiere a little bit to introduce most of the audience, or some of the audience, probably to the 1883 concept. And then even later on in the premiere, they introduced everybody to the 4-6's Ranch concept that they're going to be having with, Taylor Sheridan's character, Travis. So that's I'm a Texas boy. Got me a Texas hat. My daddy was born and raised in Texas, so I'm looking forward to that show. That'll be a pretty cool show. I don't know how we want to do this, guys. Earl, you had mentioned that you would like to do it sort of like, what did you like about the episode? What you didn't like about the episode. So let's start that way, and then maybe we'll just break down, some of the stuff that happened. So go for it.
Who?
I'm talking to you, Earl.
Oh,
Cutter Earl.
Well, I love the beginning. I mean, I love the tension and the like sort of the pacing of the beginning was awesome. It was sort of like tense. I mean, and by the way, this is a spoilers episode.
Oh yeah, we're going full spoilers. If you've not
seen the show, turn off now. Go watch the show, and then come back. The shows it was 2 shows. Back to back, right?
2 episodes, yeah.
I like that beginning pace where you just see like Rip on the move. You see Casey's mobilizing like hardcore, like getting his policemen all together. That whole beginning, Monica's on the move. Yeah, I mean the first 15 minutes were just legit.
And not to interrupt you, but Garrison wants to know where's Monica and Tate?
Get him to the bunker. Get him to the house.
Well, I think that
the bunkhouse.
Tate is a kid who is probably pretty traumatized. He had to kill a man.
He did.
And so this kid, I would imagine that Monica has gotten him as far away from the Dutton Ranch at this point as possible. And maybe that kid's in some type of rehab or something because he had to kill a guy.
They may have headed to the
They might have headed to the reservation. I don't know. But that's kind of, they did disappear after that first, quick 15-minute part. But I really think it's Tate just being traumatized. But go ahead, Dr. Earl. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, no. I think this was more in the second episode. Well, no, I guess it was in the first episode. The introduction of this kid.
Yeah, so the kid Carter, who, and again, not to interrupt you, but I thought I recognized the actor Finn Little because he's part of like the Sheridan family at this point, apparently, because he was in Those Who Wish Me Dead, and he was really good in that movie. And he's an Australian actor, and so it's cool to see him sort of come into I think he's being used as just Beth really needed kind of kind of just needed this emotionally. She needed a person to take care of. And as much as he might want to fight that, so does kind of Rip too. So
one of my dislikes maybe is that Beth is so edgy.
Well,
it's hard to sympathize with. I mean, how could you really be a businesswoman like that in real life? I mean, she's so just, I mean, there's no way you would ever work with her, ever want to work with her. You would avoid her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so my big pet peeve, being a Gentile, I'm not from Texas. I'm not from Wyoming. I'm a gentile Southerner. And to hear every single other word is the F word, the double consonant of all cuss words. It's a little much for me. Like I'm like, I don't want every single character. Like this business lady who's like 50 years old shows up and she's like dropping. I'm like, come on, not every single character has to drop the F-bomb like they're all Texas.
Well,
anyway, that's my biggest pet peeve.
No, I understand, Earl. And, you know, and
so I'm going to have to just suffer through it, but
with it being Paramount Network, I don't think they're going to shy away from that. But
yeah, it's lazy writing, and it's anyway. That's
it's not. I mean,
between the cursing and the nudity on the show, I'm always shocked when I see either one. I'm like, this is cable TV. I'm like, this isn't HBO.
Well, maybe, because you're versus HBO. I see what you're saying, but I mean, I think that they established
that's part of it too. Is I'm like watching on cable. I'm like, oh my goodness, like they're just anyway.
I don't know.
I'm a gentile Southerner.
I think that they set that up pretty well. They were saying some F-bombs and stuff in season 3. I mean, season 3 was, you know, anyways.
Oh, no. I know they're going for it. They said,
they're going all
rules. They've changed our censorship rules. All of a sudden, everybody who wasn't cussing the first 2 seasons, they're all cussing now. I'm like,
they're all cussing now. Yeah.
That just seems like disingenuous to me. But beyond that, it's a great show. I enjoy all the characters. I love everything about this. I love that Rip had that sort of like father moment, sort of. With Anyway, I'm gonna let the bearded John Dutton.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, especially this first episode, it really felt like a return to what we're used to with Yellowstone. It's just all the crazy drama, which obviously none of this stuff would happen in real life. Just ridiculousness.
We don't know that.
I thought that's how it is out in your
how it is in Montana, right?
Not quite.
Not in Wyoming.
I equate this show. This is like a Western version of HBO's Succession. Lots really, really rich people doing really, really rich things. Just gangsters. They're doing Western rich things, spending millions of dollars on horses and whatnot. The second episode was a little bit strange to me. It kind of felt like it was a mid-season episode. But I enjoyed it. I'm just mainly happy that this is back. I thought the 1883 stuff was brilliant. They're taking a page from CW verse superhero stuff with introducing other shows into this stuff.
That was cool.
And I say that I don't love it on the CW stuff. That's all kind of schlocky, but I think they did it in a pretty good way. And when I first saw Tim McGraw, I was like, I think that's Tim McGraw. It doesn't look like Tim McGraw, but I think it's Tim McGraw, and it was.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. And he's obviously playing the grandfather. You know, he's James Dillard Dutton, who is, I guess the original patriarch of the family. This is a character, obviously, that we hadn't met before, and I don't even know that they alluded that John ever alluded to his grandfather much. He of course talked about his father a little bit. We've seen his father portrayed as Dabney Coleman. I think that was season 2. And I just remember looking at Dabney Coleman and thinking, how is that man still alive? Even in the moment of that scene he was filming, he looked like he was like just about dead in that scene. The guy is so freaking old. But we see John Sr. in this scene as portrayed by Jack Michael Doak, I think is the actor's name. And Spencer, who is a character that's the brother of John Sr. That's a character again that we haven't met before. So, and that's actor Charlie Stover. So I'm looking forward to 1883. I'm totally in. That coming out in December, like way quicker than anticipated. I did not know.
That was a great scene too. Just
it was. I mean, it was a lot of good setup. Him talking to the Native Americans and just you see James being a little bit different, I guess, than we see John Dutton. Maybe, more genteel, as Dr. Earl used that word earlier, so I will steal it. He seemed a bit nicer to those people, or understanding. So,
who are you talking about?
And
John
McGraw?
Dillard or James Dillard, yeah.
Yeah, and I but you still kind of see, because I do get this read from John Dutton of he's a guy that he's going to do it his way, no matter what's in his way. But there's always a reason behind it, and there's a certain sort of, I don't know. He's not a heartless person, especially like when it comes to like the land and whatnot, where he has respect for it, and like even some of the stuff with the natives and whatnot in modern day seems to be. He doesn't like hate these people like he hates the bankers and the airport people and ski resort stuff.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, let's go ahead. And I know we're jumping around in this 2-hour premiere, but let's go ahead and talk about this market equities thing, because they shut a door very quickly that I was surprised that they shut so quickly. In Rourke, Josh Holloway's character, and I'll go back up here to Nick. I mean, Rip Sawyer from Lost. That was a pricey 60 seconds of TV.
He was out.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, dude, was that unexpected to you guys? I mean,
yeah.
Very.
Yeah.
Very much.
I mean, I thought he was going to be a major player in this season, and I guess they decided to go a different way with it. I don't know behind the scenes what went down with Josh Holloway, but I mean, I guess they just went a different way. And man, brutal death, by the way. Death from snake bite. In the face.
I have that question. I don't know how much you know about snake bite deaths, Dr. Earl, but from what I know and what I've read is it takes a few hours for you to die from, especially in the cheek. I mean, that's a long ways away from a vein.
Yeah, well, you would think.
So you do get a lot of tissue swelling from it. So if it swelled down into your throat, because the face and all that, you'd get the edema. So I guess maybe it's possible, but it was a little quicker than probably in real life, unless it was compressed time, like he was just following them for a while.
Yeah, I mean, that's not certain. They bring in. It
was a rattlesnake, wasn't it?
It had to have been something like that. Yeah.
Damn rattlers.
Now, I will say this as far as caliber of actor that they're kind of bringing in to replace Josh Holloway. I mean, they're bringing in Jackie Weaver, who's a 2-time Academy Award nominee for Animal Kingdom and for Silver Linings Playbook. She's the new bad guy. If you have seen her in Animal Kingdom, she is a good bad guy. I mean, this woman will bring it, and she's playing kind of, I guess she said she's the head of market equities, I guess, in a way,
at least
or head of the board, chairman of the board, or something like that. She's going to be good. I think she's going to be a really good villain. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that, goes forward, basically. We've obviously got a lot going on with Jimmy.
Poor Jimmy.
Poor Jimmy. He lied to John.
And to be in the same hospital as John, and John's looking at him.
And to be injured during the gunfight, like laying there,
just laying out there,
laying out there, and Mia having to come, like, in the midst of this gunfight, having to come, like, try and figure out how to get this guy. And I didn't know this, but she is portrayed by Josh Brolin's daughter. I didn't know that was
Eden
shocking. Had no idea.
I obviously looked it up, found that out today, and I was like, oh, whoa, that's Josh Brolin's daughter. Okay, that's pretty cool. So yeah, that's going to be an interesting storyline that we're probably going to see portrayed on the 4-6's Ranch show, because that's where he's going. They're shipping him off, basically.
Really?
The character,
so there's
Jimmy,
a whole other show. Maybe I've missed.
A second spinoff, basically. It's about the famous 4-6's Ranch in Texas, and that is where John is going to be trying to make some money in this horse game with Travis, the character that Taylor Sheridan himself plays. And John's like, look, you lied to me, Jimmy. I'm sending you to Texas, whether you like it or not. Type
Where
thing.
cowboying was invented.
Where cowboying was invented. Yeah, I mean, Rhett's got a good point. Paramount's got to eat. I mean, look,
that they do. Taylor Sheridan is carrying that network right now.
He really is. The mayor of Kingstown.
Okay, well, he's carrying part of that. Star Trek's obviously carrying the other part. I mean,
Oh yes. Is that on actual Paramount channel, or is that
no? It's just Paramount Plus, which is where these 2 spinoffs will be. Is on Paramount Plus also. So I mean, Earl, you're gonna have to get yourself another streaming service. If look at him, he's like, no, I'm not getting another streaming service.
$4.99 for this crap.
Look,
no, it's good.
The majority of March Madness is on that. If you want to justify it that way,
that's true. That's true. That's a good point. There you go. Hey, Rhett, I am watching every single minute of Star Trek that comes on Paramount Plus. So the
only Star Trek I've ever seen are the 3 J.J. Abrams ones, maybe 2, I guess.
You mean the ones that aren't really Star Trek movies?
Yep. The Star Wars Trek.
That's Star Wars Star Trek films.
Oh, you've only seen the J.J. Abrams. They're good. The first one's really good.
Yeah, they're good. They're good. What kind of stuff do we have going on in the bunkhouse? I mean, I think this Laramie character is still going to cause some problems.
Big fan. Not just because her name's Laramie, but
I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan, but I think that I think Lloyd's probably not gonna be real.
Yeah, I have a note down. I said I think Lloyd is going to kill Ryan Bingham at some point. Walker.
Yeah, what is Ryan Bingham's character name? Is that
Walker?
Walker.
So
yeah, Walker kind of snagged the
and he's being a real jerk.
Oh, he's being a real dick. Yeah, no, he is. No,
Yeah,
we can say that. He's not a nice dude, and he's never really been a nice dude. They have given that character a lot of chances on this ranch.
Well, they need him for his music.
But I've also, kind of a spoiler alert here, I did read that he's supposed to be on the 4-6's ranch show also.
Really?
I heard that he and Jimmy, so Walker and Jimmy are getting sent to Texas, is what I've heard.
So I wonder if Mia and Laramie go as well, or if they stay in Montana.
I'll go wherever Laramie goes. So I don't know. Rhett, you need to look up Laramie. That's all I'm telling you, Rhett. I mean, I'll go wherever she goes. But so if she's going to be in Texas, I'll go to Texas. If she's going to be on the Texas show, I'll go to the Texas show.
She's the only reason I would watch that Tacoma FD show.
Oh, is
Super
she on
Troopers, guys? Yeah.
Oh, is she on that? Yeah, I'm not familiar with the Super Trooper. I've seen obviously the very first one, but I haven't seen much beyond that. It's interesting how much like Taylor Sheridan, and I guess this isn't necessarily abnormal, but he certainly seems to be putting himself in the show quite a bit. So
this is the first time I really, on my second watch of the episode, that I really realized that was Taylor Sheridan. I always knew he was in it.
I didn't know that was him at all.
I think he was a pretty darn good actor. He pulled off that kind of cocky horseman because
and he looks like he legitimately has some skills.
And he's kind of ripped too.
Yeah, looks like he's got some skills with the horse. I mean, that was really him doing all that stuff. Not that I know anything. Not that I know anything. I'm not putting that up, Brett. About what type of style of horse. What do you call it? Look, you're the guy from freaking Wyoming.
Yes,
what do you call it? Horsing? I don't know.
So what he was doing there was cutting.
Yeah, that's me, man. I'm the cutter.
Yes,
Earl.
that's Dr. Earl up there. So John talked about wanting to win the big three. And Sunday night when I was watching that, I was like, I don't know what the big three are, because I knew that it wouldn't be the main rodeo events, because so you've got your rodeo, which is kind of the more, I don't know, glamorized and Hollywoodized type of events that of course derived from the ranching lifestyle and whatnot, but the more ranch rodeo stuff is really about ranching. One of my friends from high school is a national champion sorter, which is where you've got cows in 2 pens and you have to get them to the other side in order. They're labeled like 1 through 9.
No way.
It's crazy stuff.
Gotta be, I need to look that up. That's gonna be crazy.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
So the 3 things that I think he's talking about is cutting, which is separating a single cow from the herd of cattle and preventing it from getting back to the herd. Reining, judged event designed to show the athletic ability of a ranch type horse within the confines of a show arena. Each pattern includes small, slow circles, large, fast circles, flying lead changes, rollbacks over the hocks. Don't necessarily know what that means. 360-degree spins done in place, and exciting sliding stops that are the hallmark of the reining horse, which we saw some last season or season 2.
Yeah.
Where the horses are kind of running. Last time we saw Travis, I guess, and like kind of do that sliding stop thing. And then the third one is probably some sort of roping. I have a feeling it's probably tie down roping. So there's a few different types of like roping events that are all kind of similar. There's team roping, calf roping, tie down roping, and breakaway roping. Like I said, most likely tie down roping. Tie downs where the cowboy and the horse chase down a steer or calf that has a head start of about 10 feet or so, I think. And then the cowboy lassos the animal. At this point, the horse is trained to like stop in place so that cow stops. As the horse stops, the cowboy gets off, sprints down to the cow. He's got a little pigging wire in his mouth, flanks the cow. Now, if the cow's already on the ground, he has to wait. He has to get the cow back standing and then flank it and flip it over on its side, and then tie 3 feet together, and then throws his hands up. And
the tie, yeah,
nice.
So it's a lot of cowboy and horse things. So I think that's why, because the horse has to be trained to stop, and like all this stuff is very much like people that are like when you go to a branding, which I've been to a few. The cowboys will there'll be like 3 or 4 cowboys on horseback, and they'll rope their cows by the back feet, usually is what they try it for. Drag them out, and then 2 people flip them over and hold them down to get their shots and brands and whatnot. So it's all very relevant to the ranching lifestyle.
So basically John is saying that he wants to be first place in all 3 of these type of things because that's where the money is. He's investing a lot of money and in this, and he wants to be, and that's an interesting thing that he admitted that, and you don't see John admit his shortcomings very often, but he admitted that Yellowstone as a ranch was not, well known outside of Montana. And he wanted to be like the 4-6's ranch, which you say that
King Ranch. I drive a King Ranch, by the way.
Exactly. The King Ranch on a freaking Ford truck. Is it Ford, right? Yeah, on a Ford.
That's a real ranch, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so he wants to be as well run. Yeah, I mean, to Melissa's point, really, that's a vulnerable moment that you don't see John. I mean, we've seen certainly when it comes to family, especially when it comes to Tate, we've seen him have vulnerable moments when it comes to like his grandkid or whatever, but
not when it comes to the business.
But not when it comes to the business. So that, to Melissa's point, I mean, that was a really cool scene. But I think a big plot point, obviously, that we're going to see throughout the season, and I don't know how long it depends on how much market equities is going to be a part of the season. But there's this other thing, because it seems like, according to this Ellis guy, when he's talking to Caroline Warner, he's like, look, we didn't have anything to do with this whole militia attacking the Duttons. I thought that was interesting because why did Rip go so hard into Rourke if they, I guess unless Rourke was,
you really think that?
Okay, yeah, I mean,
guy,
unless Rourke was doing things off the books, like doing things without telling Ellis, because Ellis was a character from last season too. He could have been acting on his own to try and take down the Duttons in a way that perhaps market equities, basically
is Ellis
he wasn't
the Nari character.
Yeah,
he's the actor.
John Emmett Tracy. He's like kind of a character actor. He's been in some, not much, but he's just like the right hand man, the Market Equities right hand man, the guy.
That guy. Okay.
Yeah. He's sort of smarmy. Look, he actually reminds me of Ellis from Die Hard. He's kind of smarmy looking.
Yeah.
The Ellis, the coke.
Yeah,
head
he
from Die
plays
Hard.
a good, like, kind of creepy, slimy type of business.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he.
Sorry, I was losing. It was
So-
2 hours, guys. I mean,
Perhaps Rourke was just, look, I'm not going to say anything to anybody because if they don't, what they don't hear, they don't know, that type of thing. But yeah, I'm sure that, to Caroline's point, you really don't think we had anything to do with this.
And we will find out who did it because of the stuff going on in the casino.
Yeah, and it does seem that there is this point person that at least hired the militia. Because Rainwater and Mo kind of found this guy.
Mo, and he took him.
Dude, Mo is one bad dude.
When they said, when Rainwater said, "Do it like we did in the old days," that kind of scared me, and I was sitting on my couch at home. I was like, "Oh, that's
do it like we did in the old days." Yeah,
that's like
that's
freaky.
Scary.
I mean, that's next level right there. And yeah, it's interesting. Gil Birmingham. That's a guy that kind of came out of nowhere for me.
Yeah, he's awesome.
The first time I saw him was Hell or High Water, and he was so good in that. And I'm really glad that he is continuing as this character, because
great. Yeah,
I think that that's going to be another big thing. I mean, obviously, he's a guy that wants to make money, so he's got this interesting offer. From Market Equities.
She was like, "Look."
She's like, look, we'll have you be the number one casino.
Yeah.
And this will be a place that people want to fly to come gamble.
They want to build that airport.
So, but
$1,000 a night, $1,000 dinner, $25,000 lose at the casino.
But at the same time,
make the money
throughout, like at least throughout most of season 3, he was definitely preaching like this is our land and we're going to do what we want to. But then there's the money side of it. So it's interesting to see where his loyalty will lie. Like, is the money going to be enough for him to sort of disregard the fact that it's his land, his people's land, money talks sometimes. So I'm interested in that because we do see that little preview where, well, I don't know. I think most people watch those little preview things. Like, here's what's going to happen.
It's forced
the whole
upon
season
you if you watch it live.
Oh, there's a lot of stuff going on this preview.
They do the season preview during the episode.
Well,
you're spoiling something that's like about to happen
really
after when we get back from commercial break.
Really, really annoying. But yeah, I mean, so we see Rainwater talking to John. Look, I know we've got this guy. We know who did this. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes. I mean, obviously, we're going to have some good scenes between Kevin Costner and Jackie Weaver. I mean, there's your two powerhouses right there. I mean, I'm telling you guys, if you have the time, watch Animal Kingdom just to see how good she is. I mean, she is so good in that movie if you haven't seen it. Melissa, have a good night. Thanks for stopping by.
Good night, Melissa.
So good. Like, what am I missing? I know there was a ton of stuff in these 2 hours. If I'm missing anything in particular.
Yeah, I really liked the stuff when John went into the bunkhouse at the end of episode 1.
That was awesome.
Oh, that was cool.
Just kind of thanking them, and I do have to. I'm glad the product placement deal is still in place. Still got the Coors Banquet.
Nice,
Coors Banquet.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Yeah, so I'm glad. Because that's my beer of choice. A little fat.
Oh, okay.
I usually go with Coors Light, but
little fat.
Got to do the Coors Banquet for this show.
I love that, man. So that's what they drink in Wyoming, huh? The banquet.
Well, Coors is a classic, right?
Of course,
it's the cowboy beer. It's brewed down in the state that we don't really talk about, Colorado.
Yeah.
What does Dutton have against doctors and hospitals? Listen, if the doctor tells you to stay in bed, if we say that to you, you stay in bed.
That's right. Yeah,
it was laugh out loud funny. The
I'm gonna go
nurse where she's like using. Then we're gonna give you a bath and then we're gonna have some lunch using her little nurse voice. I'm like, ooh, you are not long for this job, are you?
No. He was done, and I wish he would have kept the beer.
It was like,
I liked the bearded John Dutton. I wish he would have kept that beard. He looked at Costner. Dude, Costner, as these seasons have progressed, he's trimmed down. He's he's in fighting weight now. He's
Taylor Sheridan's probably making him do all the actual writing. He's like, no, if I'm out here on horseback directing this thing, you're doing the same.
Yeah, exactly. No,
and I love the little interchange between him and the boy Carter. Is that his name?
Yes.
At the very
quick.
End,
Yeah, the quick.
Oh, I was supposed to get here before anybody. And he's like, you are here before anyone. You know.
Speaking of every character using foul language.
Oh yeah, even the kid
into the barn.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, that poor kid. His dad just died of a heroin overdose. I mean, that's he's basically like Rip. I mean, and that's why Rip kind of has a soft heart for him a little bit. I mean, which they try and make the audience think that I was like, there is no way you've hired this kid for one episode. This is a kid that this is a kid that obviously Taylor Sheridan is trying to help out in his career. I mean, so he's going to keep the kid as I think probably a pretty big part of the show. We'll see. I mean,
but I really like
a kid on this show
was really nice to him.
Yeah. The two main kids on this show, Tate and this kid, rough lives already. I mean, Tate was kidnapped and tortured.
Yes.
And now he killed a guy with a shotgun that was trying to kill his mom.
Yes.
Man.
He's in counseling. He's in the psych ward somewhere.
Ranchers' kids grow up super duper fast. They have to deal with a lot of crap. They have to deal with killing animals a lot. And it's Tate grew up a little bit faster than the rest of them.
I would say so.
So there's there's so many threads that we're probably going to follow throughout the season, but obviously Beth is pretty ticked off with Schwarzenmeyer. So she's ready to come off after Bob, a guy that she was like, I made you a lot of money, come at me. She said she's the bear or something.
Yeah,
I'm the bear. I'm the mama. Yes. Or she didn't say mama bear or whatever, but she said I'm the bear.
She scares me. She just flat out scares me.
She's
burned.
The
way she acts that, I'm like,
she's burned to hell. I mean, her back is like, oh man, I feel bad for her. She's speaking of characters going through a rough time. I mean, she's been beaten up, almost
sexually assaulted.
A bomb went off. I mean, I think she's had it worse than anybody, in all honesty. I mean, sure, Casey got shot a couple times, but that dude's probably used to being shot, right? I mean, I just think she's probably had it worse off than anybody. I mean, good grief. Jamie, Jamie and his dad, his biological. I think that's not really his biological father. That's my prediction. Is that this Garrett Randall character is a grifter? He's on the grift, and I don't think that's really Jamie's real dad. I just have this feeling.
I could see it. I mean, he's straight up bad news. He's just straight up bad news. He is going to. Jamie's already obviously very corrupted, but he's going to be able to just push the right buttons to make Jamie go against his family, and that just is not going to end up very well for Jamie.
Do you think he's going to make it out of the season? I think Beth's coming for him. I'm scared.
Oh no! I mean, she did. She said she's going to kill him.
Like, I would never let her in my office ever. Like, I know she's beautiful, but golly,
hell of a throw with that mousetrap. How does she get to?
I know, right? That's something that I'd never want to experience, is a woman coming into my office and throwing a mousetrap at me. I never
and then a baseball
and a baseball. I never want to experience anything like that. I mean, that's pretty hardcore. I don't know.
I think Jamie. Don't you think he's done with the Duttons? Like, he's gonna.
Oh yeah. I mean, he's already said it, that he's buying this huge amount of land for himself. He's not buying it at all for his dad. I think he's got Garrett in his ear. I mean, and so he's done with the whole family. I don't even know that he considers himself a Dutton anymore. I mean, in name only, and for power plays. I mean, he's already the Attorney General. I don't know what more.
He's going to circle back at some point. I hope.
I don't know.
Or they'll kill him. One of the other.
Or they'll kill him. Yeah, I mean, at some point, another Dutton. I know we lost a Dutton in the first season, but another Dutton needs to die.
First episode.
In the first episode of the first season, yeah. The older brother, right?
Yeah, I mean, I completely forget about that until
I do
forgot that. Yeah,
yeah. The older brother died in the very first episode. Yeah,
which is kind of why Casey has become more part of the ranch.
Yeah. I mean, we always say this about any show that we're watching is that we need it to be high stakes. Like I was saying that all throughout when we were watching The Bad Batch. I need like a major character to die at some point. And I thought we were going to get that. I thought one of these characters that got shot up, I really thought it was going to be Casey, in all honesty. Because I mean, you want to keep Beth.
Might die.
You want to keep Beth going. You want to keep John going. I thought it was going to be Casey this time. They sort of teased.
Shot, didn't he?
Oh yeah, he got shot.
He got shot like after because he was fine. He heard them shooting when he was in his office, and at the end of last season, I knew that. Well, he's in the best situation out of all these people because one, he's a livestock agent. He's got that stuff right there. He's in his and then we see him flip the desk. I'm like, okay, well, he's got the training also from the military stuff to be able to survive this. And then he gets shot when they finally find the van and he kind of runs into the van.
That was awesome.
That was I do wonder, like, is it real that a livestock commissioner would have that kind of firepower? Like, what does a livestock commissioner need? I mean, what are they dealing with in real life that they're going to need that type of firepower?
Yeah, now they probably don't have that type of
automatic
rifle.
Weapons.
I'm sure they carry the shotguns and pistols or even a rifle, but something a military grade weapon like that, I doubt it.
He'd bought it somewhere, probably.
Even the freaking sheriff, even Donnie or
they
whatever.
All had them.
He had like a fully automatic. I'm like, what does a sheriff in Montana need a fully automatic weapon for?
Dude, as we know, the West is very tough. It's like a gangster land.
That's I don't know. Yeah,
let's take you on the long train and throw you off the.
I'll take you to the train station over the border of Wyoming.
Yeah, exactly. They'll throw you over the cliff.
Yeah, those guns were hysterical because they were like these monsters. I was like, what?
Yeah, they were pretty awesome. I'll be honest, I was into it. I was like, yes, let's do this. Let's have this shootout with this militia.
There was a slight geographical
a hiccup.
Yes. When Rainwater is talking to whoever his little sidekick is,
Mo.
He says he spent some time in Rock Springs, which is a town in Wyoming. Okay. Well, the only prison in Wyoming is in Rawlins, which is about 100 miles west of Rock Springs.
They messed up.
So
this show is garbage.
And I looked up Rock Springs, Montana, and there was one building in Rock Springs, Montana. I'm like, that doesn't look like a prison. So, man, it lost like a point.
Springs he was in, like that hot tub thing that John Dutton got.
Man,
is that real? Like,
yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially that like area of where they're at. There's a lot of volcanic like activity like underneath the stuff because like the Yellowstone volcano is right there. That's gonna kill us all someday.
Yeah. Oh, Rhett. That's like the thing that Rhett wants to happen is for the Yellowstone to erupt and kill everyone. Yeah, I mean, he talks about that all the time.
I'll be one of the first to go because I'm so close. So it won't be an ash thing.
There's no escaping it.
Yeah, it'll be a fast one, so I'm not too worried about it. But yeah, there's a bunch of hot springs all throughout kind of the northwest corner of Wyoming and southwest.
Because I was like, is this a Montana. Set? Is this a real place he's at? What is?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a real place because I mean, like even the little creek that runs through Jamie's property. At one point, he asked, "Does it freeze over in the winter?" He's like, "Well, no, it's called Warm Creek. There's a reason for that." And so that probably comes from the same area where John's at, or just that.
Cool.
Yeah,
I like it.
Dude, so many storylines. I wish these were longer seasons because I think it's only 13 episodes again. But I mean, we'll luckily have some overlap. We'll have to have some overlap with 1883 and this. Not that we're going to do 1883 also, Earl. I'm not going to make you get another streaming service, but
I might.
Well, you and Roth can, if y'all need to do it.
I mean, I'll dude.
I want to watch it now.
Isabel May's in it.
I know. That's
think
why I
it looks
want to watch
exciting. I actually may get it.
I'll give you my login, Dr. Earl.
No, we didn't say that on
We didn't
live
say that. Nobody heard that.
No logins will be exchanged.
We'll talk off air.
We'll talk off air. Yeah, exactly.
Back to kind of the stuff about John and kind of the future where this show might go, because not to keep comparing it to Succession, but Succession's kind of running into this problem too of you can't keep having the same problem where big businesses are trying to come in and take your land or whatever it may be.
Yeah, it gets
I
boring.
would love, and I did forget when I wrote this, I did forget about the 6666 show.
Yeah. 466 Ranch, yeah.
But it would be interesting to see, like maybe after this season or halfway through next season, them kind of take the show in an area where it's about trying to build up that legacy more so than it has been kind of build up the ranch. And you could still keep the conflict kind of with the native, with Rainwater and those people. But
I mean, obviously they do have to keep some conflict somewhere. I mean, they got to create the drama somewhere. Now, they could certainly save it for season 5. This whole stuff with Jamie really throwing the whole book at the Duttons, like, you know, from the government side. I mean, since he's the attorney general, I mean, they certainly could have that whole thing. I mean, I guess
he knows where the bodies are buried.
He knows where the bodies are. Exactly. He knows all the dirt. I mean, so yeah, no, I think that they've at least introduced at this point enough characters where there's more to explore. I mean, we've also got a character that I'm pretty sure will come back that was introduced in season 3, the Angela Blue Thunder character that was the lawyer.
Also a scary human being.
She's very scary human being as well. Yeah. That's another character you don't just get rid of. So I think we're going to see her again. She was really good.
Up with Beth, man.
Yeah, exactly. I think that they could.
I might move down to Colorado to just stay away from that.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to mess with that. And then there's always going to be a few episodes each season about drama in the bunkhouse. So I'm sure we're going to get
something in the bunkhouse.
There'll be something in the bunkhouse. They could probably have done a spin-off show. And didn't they have some shorts? Didn't they have some shorts at some point about the bunkhouse?
I think those were behind the scenes stuff, right?
Tales from the bunkhouse, yeah.
But it was behind the scenes stuff.
It's just the actors talking.
It wasn't it wasn't a narrative thing. It was just okay. I thought it was more of a.
It's pretty good actually. They're on. They used to be on the old Paramount channel that I had, where I used to watch this before they went Plus.
No.
That still exists.
It still exists. It's still out there.
Oh, I know.
It's on the Paramount Network somewhere. I mean.
Well, anyway, but they had the actors talking about how they had to learn to ride, how they had to adjust to actual ranch life, because they're all, you know.
Yep.
Boys like
awesome.
Me from the city.
Well, I am definitely looking forward to the remaining part of this season, and you know, this is how we're going to have to do it. You know, we're both we've all got crazy schedules, so I think we landed on Tuesday nights after we talk about whatever Star Wars or Marvel show. So it might be a late night for some people. For Roth, it's only like 9:30 over there right now?
9:32. I might even watch a movie after this.
Exactly.
We're dying.
Yeah, we're dying over here. And our East Coast friends, man, I mean, you know, it's rough on them, but I'm definitely looking forward to it. I'm glad you're joining us, Roth. It's going to be a fun.
Thank you for having me.
No, dude, it's going to be so fun talking about this show with you. Plug your stuff. Where can the people listen to you on a weekly basis?
Yeah,
as well as here, of course. But
if you actually want to listen to me on a daily basis, on a week-daily basis, and you like old country music, you can hear me on 103.3 The Range in Cheyenne. We do have an app. Just search 103.3 The Range. Go to 103.3therange.com. I'm there from 3 to 7 Mountain Time every weekday. I do cowboy poetry around 4:15 or so. Got a whole cowboy poetry book from Baxter Black.
This is great news.
I've got that one behind me too, Wild Skies of Wyoming. It's fun. I talk a lot of Wyoming football too, and my Monday movie recommendation segment as well.
So 103.3 The Range.
Yep.
Okay, dude.
And I mean, this is awesome. It's genuine country. It's Merle Haggard and Willie Nelson.
You're talking about like Randy Travis stuff, like
Randy
Clint Black. Okay, good. No, this is good stuff. Is there an app? You said
yes. There's an app for both iPhone and Google Play.
I love this.
All right. It's.
I didn't know you were doing
during
that.
the daytime. I am.
Okay,
yeah.
Awesome. I thought you were. I thought you were the producer or something. Of the
I was. So I was mainly doing production stuff, and then finally we hired a program director of, I don't know, I guess 6 months ago or so, and he finally pushed me into doing it. I never wanted to, but because I'm not getting any more money for it. But
of course not.
I guess it's
radio,
dude. It's work, so of course I'm just doing it for the love of it.
It's radio.
Also, yes. I also have a podcast, Good Day for a Movie podcast. We review one movie every single week. Sometimes we'll do two. I was going to do an Eternals review, but I think you guys covered it well enough. Not really.
You can talk about it if you want to.
We had a 3-hour episode on Dune 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
And then we just reviewed Coda, which was fantastic.
Coda. Earl, have you seen Coda yet?
No, it's not on my. I have to get
You've got Apple TV, I thought.
No.
Oh my gosh, dude.
It's worth it. It was one of the most emotional movies I've ever seen.
You can actually just rent Coda. I think you can rent it.
I could probably rent it through Prime or something.
I think. Well, maybe sometimes. Those Apple TV movies are weird.
Yeah. Fantastic. I mean, pretend you're renting it by getting an Apple TV Plus subscription for a month and then cancel it right after you get it.
It's $4.99 a month anyway. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know this all adds up, but
foundation.
You just need to cancel them as you finish watching something, and you can get it again if you.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll be back in a couple of months when you'll have something else.
I think we're doing a Hayao Miyazaki movie, or a second Hayao Miyazaki movie next week.
Spirited Away.
So no, we just got the pick today, so this is inside information. Let's see.
4 people will know the secret.
Let's see. Castle in the Sky from 1986.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah. That's good stuff. Okay, good.
Yeah, so there we go.
Interested to hear on that one. I enjoyed that. I had to piecemeal it. I didn't listen to it all at the same time, but I liked the 3-hour Dune. I mean, I had to stop for a little while and then come back to it. 3 hours, it's a long.
I did not enjoy editing that.
I bet you didn't. That's a long episode.
Oh, you did a 3-hour Dune episode?
Yeah, we did. All three of us read the book. That's actually there. It is right there.
Well, as I said on the Deucecast, I'm never going to read that book. But
I wasn't going to either. They convinced me, and I will say that I'm glad I did. I'm not going to try to force anybody else to. I hate reading. It was really good. It was really, really good.
You hate reading unless it's cowboy poetry. Let's be honest.
That's right. When I'm reading aloud.
There you go. Well, dude, like I said, I really appreciate you joining us for the season. It's going to be really fun. Dr. Earl, we know we can't find you anywhere, Dr. Earl. You occasionally hang out on the Discord. Yeah, I mean, you're there every once in a while or whatever.
I have sort of a career I have to protect.
Jeez. I hear you, man. I hear you.
A genteel Southern has to. You like my Southern accent, Ross?
That's a little much. It's a little much.
Much better than mine. I can't do accents.
Yeah, I couldn't do that. That's a little much. Appreciate everybody joining us. Gosh, for this hour and 37 minutes, a combo of Eternals and Yellowstone. I mean, what more can you really ask for?
That would have made the movie better if they'd mashed it up. The Duttons versus the Eternals.
I mean, Salma Hayek was living in South Dakota. She had her little Western gear going on there.
That's true. That's true.
We could make a crossover.
That's a very good point. I didn't think about that angle. We will be back, of course, next week. Like I said, the first half will be some Disney Plus Day content, talking about the Star Wars news and Marvel news that we get at Disney Plus Day. And then, of course, the second part, after our little break, will be episode 3 of Yellowstone season 4. Who knows what craziness will happen. As always with YouTube, it's a huge help if you guys share the episode, like the episode, and of course, subscribe. We're up a couple subscribers since last week, so we're doing okay. We're like at 53, I'm nowhere near, Nick at Podcast of the Wills. If we can get to that 100 mark, that'll get us
far more than GD4 AM. We're at 0. So
hey, and thanks to Nick too for forming.
Oh yeah, that transition
that was
was pretty awesome.
Transition
I
card.
love the music he picked too. That was good stuff.
Mhm.
I mean, we'll get a copyright on it, but who cares when you're only at 53 subscribers? We'll
I
get a
need the
copyright
Yellowstone
deal.
theme on that thing.
Well, you can't really do that on YouTube.
That'll be big time copyright.
That'll be big time. This will just be like Ryan Bingham
We're promoting their
copyrighted.
show.
Well, they don't. YouTube doesn't
No, I
care.
know.
I mean, they'll throw it up. Once we get to 100 subscribers, we'll worry about that. At 53, we're not really too worried.
You got to
about
throw
that.
the whole kitchen sink at it to get to 100.
Pretty much. As always, appreciate you guys hanging out, and we will see you next week for sure.